a re-examination of the death of Vince Foster, which multiple official investigations found to be a suicide. Okay?
Yes.
So
a lot of them they say are
all
suicides.
the official shit about it said he killed himself.
Yeah.
So that's the official report. Now they say instead that, or in this article that begins the Arkansas Project, it explains that David Brock was summoned to a meeting with a guy named Rex Armistead in Miami, Florida, and Brock claims that Armistead laid out for him an elaborate Vince Foster murder scenario before it even happened.
Oh, whoa.
And so Rex Armistead was a private detective and a Mississippi Highway Patrol officer. And he was involved as an investigator for the Arkansas Project. So he's the one who... So it wasn't before it happened. He laid it out for...
So he was like... He planned it almost. He was like...
He blew the whistle to David Brock.
Okay.
And David Brock wrote the first article that triggered the Arkansas Project. And the Arkansas Project was, like I said, a series of press releases.
He was in on the plan of
Clinton's
it, and then
crimes.
he blew the whistle.
It looks like he was in on the investigation.
Okay.
And he blew the whistle. It's hard to tell. But the main point, I believe, is they think Vince Foster was murdered.
Yeah, instead of committing suicide, that they had him killed. Right?
Yeah. So they like I said, all of the official. So what was written in the Washington Post in July 1st of 1994 was that depression had consumed him and he found it hard to eat and sleep. He couldn't concentrate at work. His sense of humor dried up. His heart pounded and his stomach boiled. But he was always dependable despite his illness. And then he got wrapped up in a bunch of his late father's estate and paid unpaid bills that he had promised his wife he would pay, and then he killed himself.
Shitty.
Special counsel Robert B. Fisk Jr. concluded Foster's death in Fort Macy Park a suicide.
Wow. That's nuts. So that's why he's number one on the conspiracy hit list, because he was the first one supposedly murdered.
Yeah. So was it really a suicide? You know.
Well, there's the other people on the supposed list. Almost all of them come up as a suicide. And that's the part that's really interesting to me.
Yeah, all of the one. Yeah, it is. They all come up
as a suicide.
Yeah, that's true. Which is you can pause it. So,
do we have other names of people supposedly on the list?
Well, we're still on Vince Foster.
Oh, okay.
So there was no evidence of foul play found by police, but several tabloids and right-leaning newsletters speculated Foster's death may have been a homicide, possibly involving the Clintons themselves.
There it is.
Yep.
The beginning of the list.
So, the final investigation was led by Special Prosecutor Ken Starr.
Of course.
And he also concluded that there was no evidence to support the claim, but Foster's the first one on the kill list. So
that's before they have anybody else to compare it to.
Yeah, that's the first suicide
quote
attributed to
suicide.
Clintons. Yeah, quote unquote suicide, alleged suicide. So that's the second thing that Ken Starr was special prosecutor on. The third would be Whitewater.
And Whitewater, or the Whitewater controversy or Whitewater scandal, most people just know it simply as Whitewater,
Yep.
was an American political controversy in the 90s, also involving the Clintons. It began with an investigation into the real estate investments of Bill and Hillary Clinton and their associates Jim McDougal and Susan McDougal in the Whitewater Development Corporation. This failed business venture was incorporated in 1979 with the purpose of developing vacation properties on land along the White River near Philippine, Arkansas. As of March 1992, the New York Times article published during the 92 U.S. presidential campaign reported that the Clintons, then governor and first lady of Arkansas, had invested and lost money in the Whitewater Development Corporation. The article stimulated the interest of Lieutenant Gene Lewis, a Resolution Trust Corporation investigator who was looking into the failure of Madison Guaranty Savings and Loan, also owned by Jim and Susan McDougal. So the connection there with the Clintons and their loss of money with the election, they're thinking that the Clintons were running money through the McDougals for campaign and all sorts of things, that they were using the McDougals as a kind of as another way to route their funds.
Yeah, that's
the main nutshell of why the McDougals were involved. Lewis looked for connections between the Savings and Loan Company and the Clintons, and on September 2nd, 1992, she submitted a criminal referral to the FBI, naming Bill and Hillary Clinton as witnesses in the Madison Guaranty case. Little Rock U.S. Attorney Charles A. Banks and the FBI determined that the referral lacked merit, but Lewis continued to pursue the case. From 1992 to 94, and just pause for here for a second, this happens a lot along the lines with the Clintons, where the FBI or other people that they have influence on kind of try to help and kind of hinder investigations along the way, from what I've noticed in the research. And that the referral lacked merit, but Lewis continued to pursue the case. From 1992 to 94, Lewis issued several additional referrals against the Clintons and repeatedly called the U.S. Attorney's Office in Little Rock and the Justice Department regarding the case. Her referrals eventually became public knowledge, and she testified before the Senate Water Commission in 95, headed by Ken Starr, if I recall.
Yeah, that's it's the whole committee. So it's going to be more than just Ken Starr. So the committee included Al D'Amato, Paul Sarbanes, Michael Chertoff, Richard. It's a bunch of people. It's going to be a bunch of congressmen and congresswomen.
Oh, okay.
It's a congressional committee. So what Ken Starr is he is a special prosecutor,
similar to
an investigator. So he's counsel. He's not really he's not quite Mueller, because Mueller actually investigates shit.
Oh, okay.
Ken Starr prosecutes things.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
I don't know who would prosecute Trump if Mueller brought him up on charges. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it would be whoever would be the lieutenant
general? Attorney General,
Attorney
right?
General,
I believe, or whoever got assigned to the case by the Attorney General. I honestly
I'm not sure
don't know how that works.
Yeah, I'm not sure who takes those cases.
But there was the Whitewater scam. I swear there was evidence for that. That there was evidence that, because here is
this loan
McDougal served time in prison for contempt of court because she wouldn't answer questions relating to Whitewater.
Yeah, the sources of criminal allegations against the Clinton. Yeah, David Hale, the source of criminal allegations against the Clinton, claimed in 1993 that Bill Clinton had pressured him into providing an illegal $300,000 loan to Susan McDougal, the Clintons' partner in the Whitewater land deal. The allegations were regarded as questionable because Hale had not mentioned Clinton in reference to this loan during the original FBI investigation of the Madison guarantee in 1989.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of discrepancies.
But I think by her not answering their questions, that's suspect to me.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
though they weren't ever prosecuted though. They found insufficient evidence linking them with the criminal conduct related to the deals.
And Susan McDougal was granted a pardon by Bill Clinton before he left office.
Well, yeah, that's fucked. See, there's still little things like that.
Oh yeah,
like so a little thing left over from.
Well, that's why when the Dems get mad about Trump saying he wants to pardon people, it's not like it hasn't happened before. Like,
well, and like a little thing left over from the Vince Foster thing is. Like they found there was some evidence there too. They found a resignation letter torn up in his briefcase. So he was planning on resigning. So that's like the smoking gun, it seems, there. Is that they didn't want him to resign.
So here's where it connects with what we were talking about earlier. So a little bit later on, so in 94 is when they get subpoenaed. As a result of the expose in the New York Times, the Justice Department opens an investigation into the failed Whitewater deal. Media pressure continued to build. Hillary Clinton gave an unusual press conference under a portrait of Abraham Lincoln in April 22nd of 94 in the state dining room of the White House to address questions on both Whitewater and the cattle's future controversy.
An unusual... Do they...
It was broadcast live on several networks. In it, she claimed that the Clintons had a passive role in the Whitewater venture and had committed no wrongdoing, but admitted that her explanations had been vague. She said that she no longer opposed appointing a special prosecutor, which would be like Mueller, and investigating the matter. Afterwards, she won media praise for the manner in which she conducted herself during the press conference. Time called her open, candid, but above all unflappable. The real message was her attitude and her poise. The confiding tone and relaxed body language immediately drew approving ratings. But by the time there was growing backlash from Democrats and other members of political left against the press investigations of Whitewater. The New York Times was criticized by Gene Lyons of Harper's Magazine, who felt that reporters were exaggerating the significance and possible impropriety of what was uncovering. So I think that's where probably the Clintons were using some of their sway to help push back, because they also had the ability to use channels within the media. At the Clintons' request, Attorney General Janet Reno appointed a special prosecutor, Robert B. Fisk, to investigate the legality of the Whitewater transactions in 94. Two allegations surfaced. One, the Clintons had exerted pressure on an Arkansas business, David Hale, to make a loan that would benefit him on the owners of the Madison guarantee, and two, that an Arkansas bank had concealed the transactions involving Clinton's how do you say that word? Gubernatorial campaign. Gubernatorial campaign in 1990.
Yeah.
In May 1994, is that how you say like the governor campaign? Is that's the term? Yeah. Jeez, that is a weird ass term. Gubernatorial term of the day.
If I'm not mistaken,
gubernatorial, or it's it's a misspell.
No, it's not. It's not a miss.
I just like that it has goober in it.
It is. It's
the term for governor. Yeah, so
it's the governor
gubernatorial campaign.
Gubernatorial campaign.
That's our new word of the day. It's gubernatorial.
They say it on the news all the time. It's just who the fuck's fucking.
Well, I always thought it was gubernatorial. I thought but it's gubernatorial.
Goober.
In May 1994, Fisk issued a grand jury subpoena to the president and his wife for all documents relating to the Madison guarantee, with a deadline of 30 days. They were reported as missing by the Clintons. Almost 2 years later, the subpoena billing records of the Rose law firm were discovered in the Clintons' private residence in the White House, with fingerprints of Hillary Clinton's among others. So they reported them missing, and then 2 years later they were found.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then this is the Kenneth Starr investigation beginning in '94.
Well, before...